Okay. What's good, guys? We're back at it with Miss like 7th period class.
We're back at
So good shout. We're gonna do number quattro. That's 4 for my English-speaking friends. On 8.2. With the French friends is baguette. Okay, good shout. I was about to get so
I don't think you are leaving. I don't like this. Probably next period.
Straight? Where?
This is number 4 on the homework that was due today, but since so many people either didn't do it or didn't do the last one, you didn't, thank you. Didn't do the last one. Raise your hand and be honest. Don't be little liars. Be honest.
Okay.
Did you go to my homework help video when you were struggling?
Absolutely. I swear.
I just literally looked at you. Yeah, seriously, what she said. It was like, I just looked at your
speaker.
You raised your hand and I looked at you and you're like, I did, I promise.
I have a speaker and I'm not afraid to use it.
Yikes.
It's a speaker. I have 20 of them.
Don't you have to use your phone to connect to that though?
No, I can use my computer.
That's tough.
So are you supposed to be doing that on your computer?
Are you?
No,
Is that what you're supposed to be doing?
No, I'm keeping that in class.
There is no fun here at
You put on the speaker, that's broken.
Last, I bet you right now. Go back and it's not turned off.
That is
Actually,
wonderful.
I
I would like to continue
Yes.
and I would like your full attention, we're gonna continue. So we're gonna do number 4 together. If you have different numbers, great. That means you'll learn from this and practice it with yours. The total area of the figure to the right is 442 centimeters. Write an equation involving x and then solve. So the entire area, the entire thing is 442. Let me make sure. The total area of the figure to the right, this whole figure to the right, is 442 centimeters squared. So I'm going to write that. Length times width equals 442 centimeters squared. How can I represent the length of this whole figure? Go ahead, Carmine.
20 plus x.
20 plus x. Raise your hand if you are confused as to how we got 20 plus x. Everybody totally understands? Not so much? Okay. Does anybody want to explain it? Grayson. Oh, but I thought you understood it because you didn't raise your hand.
I do understand.
Great. Explain it, please. Go ahead and explain it. How do we get 20 plus x to represent the length of the entire rectangle?
You got this in this.
No, Grayson, hurry up. Let's do this.
Because, shush. So, how I do it, this is me, I take both the x's, I put one in like one of the parentheses, and I take the 20, I put in the other, like the same parentheses.
Okay, so can you explain so basically what you just said is like you just guess as to like where to put things, like I'll just put this one over here and this one over here. Tell me why this makes sense to call the length 20 plus x. Angie, let him speak or you're next.
Yeah, Angus. Wanna come outside? Let me step outside my office. So.
Can you just say it?
Yeah,
Can you stop talking? And I could explain?
Ooh.
So we need to. Don't make me come over there.
Spit it out.
Buddy just talked.
So
Sounds like a
we need to
good
know if one. We need to have at least one of them that's like knowable. So we put 20.
Can I explain it?
Do you do it, like, do you need to point to things or something?
No.
You want me
Yes, do you understand why the length is 20 plus x?
A through P. Please report to the back of the page. Eighth grade learners last week, A through P.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N,
Black box.
Alright, Miss Lang, I'm ready to learn.
Okay, can you explain why it's 20 plus x? Because neither of you raised your hand to say that you didn't understand it. So explain
20
it.
because it's the width of the length.
The length of what?
We said A through C or A through P?
P.
P. If they said A through C, they would have said all eighth graders.
It's the 20 centimeters what is already there.
Yeah,
And then the plus x is what is going to figure out.
right, but how do we know that the length of the entire rectangle can be written as 20 plus x? On,
She was going to yell at me after Emily came in.
oh yeah,
I
it
was
was like
like,
she
oh
was
my
like not
God.
happy. Are you able to stay?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, take a seat.
She scared me so much. She started yelling at Emily. I'm like, oh my God,
That was weird.
what is it? She was just very upset that all the kids before were very
Yeah, that's what I did
disrespectful.
Really?
Yeah. They have to go outside to watch us on my
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna be called next. All right, let's go through this quickly, okay?
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I'm gonna write a different thing, okay? What if I give you a rectangle, and I say that this is 25 and this is 10? Can you tell me what would represent the length of this rectangle?
10.
Okay. Length is usually like the longer side or the bottom side, so.
They're both equal. It's a square. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so 25.
We're doing this problem, but we're having trouble explaining why the length can be represented by 20 plus x, the length of the entire rectangle. So we're pausing on that.
Like.
Yeah, we're just pausing on that because I want them to like try to get it on their own without explaining it.
because-
Yeah, I just hold on because I want them to get it. So I'm gonna draw a completely different rectangle. This has nothing to do with that. Pretend that doesn't exist for a second. It's just a rectangle where I give you the length and the width. Can you tell me what the length of this rectangle is? Good, I gave it to you, right? Okay, now I'm gonna draw a different rectangle. Can you tell me the length of this rectangle? 10 plus x. Because it's 10
plus whatever's there.
Oh, okay.
and x. So why is this length 20 plus x?
Because it's the bottom. And then
This
there's
one.
Right, because we need the length of the whole thing, which is this, all the way to here. And it's technically broken up into two parts. This from here to here is 20. So that means that from here to here is 20, which isn't the whole length, but it's part of it. And then the rest of it, they said from here to here is x. We can kind of shift that down here. And then we know that the length of the entire rectangle from here all the way to here is 20 and x. Whatever x is, could be 2, could be 9, I don't know. But we know that it's 20 and whatever x is. So we can simply write 20 and x equal, it is the length, right? So I'm rewriting L by saying 20 plus x. It still doesn't give us any answers, but at least it's giving us more information than just writing L. At least we have a number here. Okay, how do we represent the width? And I'm just gonna continue writing this equation over, but instead of writing L times W, I'm writing this times this, because this is our length and this is our width. So I'm just putting them in parentheses next to each other, representing that multiplication of length times width. So for the width, can you tell me how we would represent that.
11.
Since, yes,
So 11 plus x.
11 plus x, very good. Now, the order that we wrote this, it's just kind of the way I naturally did it when I was looking at it. And there's nothing wrong, bless you, there's nothing wrong with the way we wrote it. The order is totally fine, except for the fact that when I take these binomials and multiply them, when I FOIL them, it is going to give me a quadratic expression that's kind of like out of order. It's going to give me my x squared at the end. And I could FOIL it and then rearrange my quadratic expression, but to me it's easier just to use my commutative property of addition and switch these. Yeah, so I'll just do x plus 20, and then I'll do x plus 11. Honestly, if this rectangle, if the picture was like over here instead of here, I probably would have just naturally done like x plus 20 because the x would have come first in the rectangle. But since just the way that it's pictured, I wrote it down as 20 plus x, and then I realized, you know what? It would be much easier to FOIL this if we write it in that binomial like format that we are used to. So let's FOIL it. FOIL means we do first, outer, inner, last. Our first terms are x times x, which is, well, yeah, and let me ask you, at this point, do we totally understand this?
Yeah.
Okay, and just to go back a little bit, the question gives us the area of the whole thing. And the area of the whole thing is equal to the length of the whole thing times the width of the whole thing. And we're just substituting those variables with expressions that are getting us closer to finding x. Okay, so I think Lily said x squared, and then outer would be x times 11.
11 plus 11x.
Good, plus 11x. And then inner,
Plus 20.
okay. And then last,
And then 11 times 20.
yeah, you can use a calculator.
220.
Okay,
X. Wait.
no, not x,
No,
just,
no, no, X.
okay.
And then
So that would be positive 220 equals 442. And then there are a couple of things we need to do to kind of clean this up. The first thing is we can combine our like terms here to get what? They're both x terms, so combine them. 31x, very good. X squared plus 31x plus 220 equals 442. Now, what we learned last week was the property called the zero product property. And that taught us that if we can get our quadratic equation set equal to 0, then we can factor it and solve for x.
Would you do plus 4 or minus 442?
Yep, we want to get this part of the equation, the other side, we want to make it equal 0. So you just do the opposite of whatever is there. If you have 442, then take 442 away. And you can take it also away from that last term, from your C term. So this cancels out to 0. And then we have x squared plus 31x. And then calculator.
Is it 222?
Yep. Plus 222 equals 0. So now we have a big pain. Yeah?
Where do you get plus? Would it be negative?
Whoops. Yes. So sorry. So now we have a real pain because we actually have to factor it, which is funny because we started out with the binomial factors, but we couldn't use them because we had to take care of this so that we could set it equal to 0, but we couldn't do that until we FOILed them so that we actually had something to combine it with. Now we have it equal to 0, but we need to factor it again. So I'm going to write this over here just to get more space. So I have x squared plus 31x minus 222 equals 0. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, this book just threw out some new numbers that I haven't worked with yet, and I do not know what two numbers are gonna multiply to get 222 and add to get 31. I just don't know it, so I'm gonna use my calculator for help, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start dividing 222 by things, like it's even, so I'll divide it by 2 first. 222 divided by 2 is 111. 111 and 2, there's no way we're gonna get a 31. Let's try 222 divided by 4. That's not a whole number. Let's try divided by 3. 222 divided by 3 is 74. No, it's not gonna work. 222 divided by, can be divided by 5. Let's try divided by 6 is 37. That sounds like we're getting closer. Because 222 can be 37. Did I say times 6?
Yeah.
Yep. Times 6. Do you think there's a way that we would be able to combine 37 and 6 to get 31? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Because if this is a negative 22, that means I need to get a negative 22, negative 222 as a product, which means one of these needs to be negative, because a negative times a positive is negative. In that case, one of these, it doesn't matter which one of these is negative to get a negative product, but it does matter which one of these is negative to get the sum positive 31. Negative 6, very good. So this would be 37 plus a negative 6, and then that would mean that this would be a negative 6 times 37, negative 222. And then we have our 37 plus a negative 6 will give us 31. So our numbers are 37 and negative 6. So I have x plus 37 and x minus 6. Oh no. Hold on guys, we're in the middle of something, so you need to be silent. Once I get x plus 37 times x minus 6 equals 0, how can I start solving for my x values, my solution?
I can't see.
How was it?
It was fun.
I got
It made me
colorblind.
dizzy.
You can only see
That was not working.
Okay.
Like it made me really
Okay, real quick, we're almost done with this. Do you know how to set this up for later?
I can't see.
Do you know how to solve for x now? Using our zero product property? It's how do we set it up? Guys, be quiet!
You can see.
What? Oh, we didn't set it up yet. We have to set each factor equal to 0. Remember that.
There it is.
Be quiet. I'm trying to get to the end of this problem, and you guys are gonna have to watch the video for help. Okay. So using the zero product property, that means at least one of these factors has to equal 0, so that you can get a product of 0.
Okay.
So in order to solve for x, we need to just, I was about to say pretend, even though we're not really pretending, like it's real, but like you have to set it up so that x plus 37 equals 0, and, yep, exactly.
Okay.
So then one of your solutions would be negative 37, and the other solution would be positive 6, but here's the last part. We got 2 solutions for a measurement. How can there be 2 different solutions for a measurement? Carmen.
Because that's for that one sliver and that one.
Nope, because x over here and x over here has to be the same distance, because it's a measurement. Measurements can't be. What?
Yeah, point at the arrows.
This x and this x are the exact same distance, so how do we have 2 solutions? Or should I say, what should we do about the fact that we have 2 solutions?
So it can't be 37 because it wouldn't make sense because 20 meters or 20 centimeters like this long and
Yeah.
x if it was 37 it would be long.
You're right, but I can like shorten that by saying it can't be negative 37 because you can have a negative distance. You can have a negative measurement, right? You can be like, the length from here to here is negative 4 feet. It just doesn't make any sense. Therefore, the only actual viable solution for this problem is 6 centimeters. And then there's a part 2, but I don't know what the part 2 says. I do not know. It's they want the equation.
So it would
Write an
be
equation involving x.
It would be x
parentheses
plus,
X squared plus 31x.
no, it'd be x plus 11 in parentheses, then x
Yeah.
plus 12
Wouldn't it be a
equals.
38?
X plus 20 and x plus 11
Equals 442.
equals 442.
Yeah.
Mislike.
And then after that, the next part is asking
Let's
like
see.
what
And then, you would need,
it would ticks. It would be ticks.
the value of x is
X.
6 centimeters. And
Joe.
there we go.
I'm gonna have half right.
So because we got a negative 37, we had to look at both of our solutions and say, since this technically isn't a parabola on a graph, if this were a parabola on a graph, we'd be like, the solutions are negative 37 and 6, because that would just be the x-intercepts of the parabola. But since we're working with an actual figure that has real measurements, centimeters can't be negative because that's just, it doesn't exist. If I went to Lowe's and I said, hey, can I have negative 37 centimeters of like trim? They'd be like, I don't know what you're saying, you're insane because I can't give you negative 37. It would almost be the same as me saying, I would have to give them, hey, I would like negative 37 centimeters of this trim. Here you go, bye. Like that's an insane
Wait.
person. Does that. I was gonna say maybe
Coupons.
you should try it.
I already have.
Oh, you already have,
They
that
don't-
makes sense.
They don't accept
Yeah.
that type of Apple Pay.
Oh, you absolutely can.
That new reverse.
Okay, that was the problem. I recorded another video for you guys. Do you want me to explain it again?
No.
So you want to just sit here and do nothing?
Yeah.
Rather than get the explanation?
Yeah.
You want to play Hangman?
Can I do it?
Yeah,
I want to watch the video.
Number 3? Alright.
Can I do it?
Hold on, I'm doing number 3.
Mislike, it was honestly disappointing.
Thank you.
It was hard, but it was just like someone took like a whole chunk out.
Wait, you put case on my head.
Mislike. If you wanted to see my work for 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so
I'm going to keep it.
You were so. I just don't have to draw it.
If it's actually, oh yeah, okay. I thought you had your book open. I was gonna say you were just giving me a problem. Okay, so for number 3, yeah, girls, for number 3, they actually already have a quadratic equation here, and it's already set to 0. So all we have to do is factor it, and then use the zero product property. So let's start thinking of a way to get a negative 48 as a product, but then take those factors and get a positive 2 as a sum. Well, this is W, so instead of X, we'll have W. And we're just looking for the 2 factors, or the 2 numbers, that will multiply to get negative 48, and add to get positive 2. And if it helps, you can just start listing, like, 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, 4 times 12, 5, 6 times 8. Out of these pairs of factors, what pair, when one of them is assigned a negative, because it has to be a negative 48 product, which pair, when one of them is assigned a negative, will give a positive 2 as a sum? 6 and 8, which one has to be negative and which one's positive? The 6 is negative and the 8 is positive, and that will give us a sum of 2. So that's what we have, negative 6, positive 8, and then, so this is just factoring. We didn't do anything, we just took this and factored it. And then to actually solve for it, we need to solve for W using the zero product property. That means both of these factors have to be set equal to 0, because in order to get a product of 0, at least one of them has to be 0. So then we would have W equals 6 and W equals negative 8. And, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not sorry. That's what I meant. So our numbers here are negative 6 and positive 8. When we use our zero product property, it actually uses the opposite version. Because we have to solve algebraic.
So 6 comma negative 8.
No. Oh, that's a good question. So, what Bella was just asking was, do you have to choose only one of the numbers and get rid of the negative number? The answer in this case is no, because this isn't like a real life measurement type problem. This is just an equation that does represent a parabola. So this would be, these both would be the solutions. It says use a comma to separate answers. So we have two answers here, and you would just write negative 8, comma 6, or 6, comma negative 8. I'm pretty sure that it would accept either order. Sometimes I'm like, are they only going to accept the one
So
where?
you're saying if we had this on the EOC or something, we would put both numbers, not one.
If this question was on the EOC, both numbers for sure. If you have a question like number 4, where it's actually asking you to identify a missing measurement, then you can only have one of the solutions, and it has to be the one that makes the most sense. In the case of number 4, which we were just working with, the other one didn't make sense because it was negative and you can't have a negative measurement. There was one that we were working with last week that was like the width of the picture frame. It was like the thickness of the wood frame. And we ended up with 2 positive numbers. So you're like, wait, so which one's right? How did we determine which one of the solutions was correct?
That was the one that made the most sense.
Yeah, and why did it make sense to choose the smaller one?
It was just like a small.
Yeah, because we saw that I think the entire length was 20, and if we were only finding a part of that, it couldn't be a number bigger than 20, which made that solution not viable. So that's it for the homework. You guys want to play algebra? Hangman? Yeah. And you can.
Miss, like, you can put the Solar Eclipse live stream.
Oh, Solar Eclipse live stream? Yeah.
And then do Hangman on top of it.
Live stream.
Video.
Yeah.
Live stream.